zone.
The official to throw the ball in the air. He's working with Bob Donato and Frank Scagliotta. And we're underway. Mobley controlled the tip to Antigua. And this is Jerry McCullough, the junior point guard.
And Pitt's going to open up in a man-to-man, or got to get against the North Carolina man-to-man. Salvadori was late.
And early evidence of the improved shooting of Antigua as he drives in a three, coming off the 6 3-pointers and 20 points in all, a career high Saturday in the win over the Duquesne Dukes.
Pitt's going to open up in the zone defense, and North Carolina's going to throw the ball away, and a turnover immediately for the Tar Heels. Sean, I really think this is the key to the basketball game right here. If McCullough can handle this pressure, if they get the ball in his hands, and that time they did beat it.
Sharif, foul, count it. Kevin Salvadori the foul, and amid Sharif the basket, and Pitt is off to a 5-0 lead.
So the first trip, Pitt handles the pressure that time. North Carolina threw the press at him. Sharif with a good, strong move. Watch the protection of the ball with the body. And right there is Salvadori to commit the foul. Boy, Sharif did a nice job of putting that ball off the glass. Watch it again from a lower angle. You can see how well he takes care of the ball.
Sharif, the off guard, makes the free throw. He'd only been averaging 47% from the line coming into tonight. 6-0 Panthers.
And again, you see that matchup zone by Pitt. North Carolina is going to try to get it inside if they can to Montrose and Salvadori.
Brian Reese, his pass couldn't be handled by Salvadori. 3-on-1, McCullough.
Nice pass. Oh, what a pass. Good look.
All Panthers in the first minute.
Boy, North Carolina looks really slow and lethargic to start this game, Sean.
Calabria quiets the crowd with a three.
Homecoming.
For both Calabria and Kevin Salvadori. Salvadori's from Pittsburgh, and Chris Fowler mentioned between the two, they had to get 250 tickets for this game. Antigua's three rattles in.
Well, what a great look that was by McCullough. He found Antigua right beyond the three-point arc. Pitt team looks sharp.
Reese, he's also been bothered by ankle troubles lately. Montross too strong. Salvadori was fouled on the floor.
And there's the point right there where Pitt misses Chris Gant because he is such a strong rebounder on the inside. Nobody in there to really contest it. You see Gant right there. Take a look inside and watch Montross. The good turnaround jumper he misses. Good strong rebound by Salvadori, and Antigua right on his back.
First foul of the game against the Panthers, a non-shooting foul. They lob it into Montross. No answer for Pitt on that one. Montross was fouled as well.
Tough to climb that pillar. That's a big one. So one thing about this North Carolina team, when you talk about talent, it's the depth of the talent that's so important. Not only on the inside, because they've got great players inside, but their backcourt is so strong. And they've got those two great freshmen in Wallace and Stackhouse that they bring off the bench.
Montross at just 56% for the year from the line. Uncharacteristically, North Carolina at 63% as a team coming into this one. It's 11-6 Panthers. We've played nearly 2 minutes. Sharif, the pull-up. And it's tipped in. Tipped in by Willie Cauley. The Sharif miss was the first for Pitt from the floor. They're now 5 out of 6.
Watch Cauley try to drop back in the lap in the inside in the lane to try to help against Montross. Good cut by Carolina.
And Calabria was fouled. And a problem for Pitt. Well, we thought it was on Antigua, but instead it's on Sharif. So it's not the second for Antigua. It's the first on Sharif and the second on the team.
Very difficult to try to stop this Carolina offense because they got so many weapons. They shoot it well from the outside. Paul Evans is really upset. He thinks this is a common foul. It should not have been called a shooting foul.
And it has been called a shooting foul by Bob Donato, and Paul Evans better be careful.
That was not a Christmas greeting he was giving Bob Donato either.
No, it was not. Of course, Paul Evans under fire here in Pittsburgh in the last year of his contract. It has not yet been renewed, fueling speculation that he won't be back next year. 13-7 Pitt. Calabria for three. Montross the rebound. Blocked by Mobley. They call a foul on Mobley.
Very Greg Mobley's got to have the game of his career if North Carolina, or if Pitt has a chance to beat North Carolina because of the way he plays inside. He's very aggressive, but he's going up against two big guys in there. Montross is at 7 feet. Then you've got Salvadori at 6'11", 7 feet. Tough for one guy to try to contest both of those people.
Both teams have been excellent this year in rebounding, both out-rebounding their opponents by 11 per game. Pitt has rebounded all 6 of its opponents, and North Carolina has only been out-rebounded once this year. That was in their only loss to Massachusetts. Tar Heels come into this one at 8-1 and ranked 2nd in the nation behind Arkansas.
Well, Reese got out on top that time, but Antigua quickly.
Mobley bumped a couple of times. Foul, and will there be a goaltending call? I believe there will be. Score the bucket.
Yeah, count it. Sean, I thought he might have gotten bumped a little earlier before he even went to the basket. He made the wheel. Now watch him go on Montross right here.
And there was a bump.
There was the bump, and then he went back again, and then Salvadori swipes it off of the rim.
So goaltending against Salvadori, the foul on Montross. And Pitt leads 15-8. Mobley at the line, 63% from the strike, no good. Salvadori the rebound. Pitt on fire in the early going. Calabria not bashful early on, and he missed the 3, and Phelps was fouled as he put it up.
Very difficult when you're playing a zone defense to get block-out assignments, and when the ball comes off like that, oftentimes the offense has as much a chance to get the ball as does the defense.
Donald Williams, the Tar Heels' leading scorer into the game for Calabria. I mentioned Williams did not start, and Calabria did, because this is a backyard game. Whenever Gene Smith recruits a player from beyond the ACC territory, he attempts at some point over the player's 4 years to play a game in that player's hometown, and he's done that tonight for both Calabria and Salvadori. And you saw Saturas Agelu, number 23, came into the ball game for Pitt. Phelps made the first.
I get a feeling Paul Evans really likes Agelu an awful lot. A conversation with him at the shoot-around today. Boy, he was very complimentary.
But he's the nicest and hardest working player I've ever coached. But if I had 10 of him, I coached till I was 75. Phelps made 2, cutting the lead to 5 points. Antigua all alone on the feed from McCullough.
Sean, really the key to the basketball game so far. Pitt's been able to handle the North Carolina pressure. McCullough doing masterful work.
Antigua, the block on Reese. And it's Pitt ball. Phelps knocked it out.
Oh, Pitt looks really sharp early here.
Of course, McCullough might have to go the distance tonight. See if the pressing and trapping takes its toll later in the game. McCullough all the way down the lane, missed the layup.
Good idea. Just didn't finish.
17-10 Pitt. Nearly 3.5 minutes played.
Good help that time. You got to go inside.
Reese missed a 3, and they're having problems are the Panthers on the defensive glass despite the early lead. North Carolina having its way on the offensive board.
You're going to see a lot of that with those 2 7-footers in there. Salvadori and Montross are very strong on the offensive glass.
Jump ball, the call, and North Carolina gets it on the alternating possession. Kansas leading big at the half, and looks like Michigan will hang on and win that one.
UCLA's going to have a good year this year. The Bannon brothers have banded together out there. Watch the Pitt zone now. They go 2-3, then try to match up. Look at the lob by Williams.
And Jerry Stackhouse, the freshman, number 42, has just come in for the Tar Heels. And what was an 8-point deficit is down to 3. Mobley makes it 5. Eric Mobley, the senior from the Bronx.
Good trap by Pitt. Carolina will look inside. Montross trying to call for it. Salvadori trying to screen for him.
Phelps thought about a 3. Down to 15 on the shot clock. Antigua made Williams pass. Then Mobley blocked the shot of Montross. 4-on-2 Panthers. Antigua. McCullough. And the rebound by Montross, and Antigua hit the floor hard. Phelps fouled on the drive.
Yeah, Pitt's not backing down at all from this North Carolina side. They're taking it strong to the basket. I saw McCullough take it in for one layup there. Antigua tried to go in. Even McCullough back in there for an offensive rebound. So Pitt not intimidated at all by this North Carolina side.
And the foul was on Willie Cauley, subbing for Chris Gant, and that's the second on Cauley.
We were told that Gant may possibly play tonight, even though he does have that bad ankle.
And he's come a long way in just a few hours because of the shoot-around this morning. If Gant did not attend, the word was that it was very unlikely he'd play, but he did come out and participate in the warm-up prior to the game. And Paul Evans thought that he could get Gant into the game at some point tonight. Phelps makes the second, and our first timeout comes with 15:15 left in the first half. 19-15 Pitt. 1981 game won by North Carolina. 74-57 led the victory in that one by a couple of guys named James Worthy and Sam Perkins in the first round in El Paso that year.
Two decent players.
Willie Cauley, junior college transfer in his first year with Pitt, knocked in the short jumper to put the lead back to 6 for the Panthers. They are 9 of 13 from the field now.
Cauley, a very able substitution for Gant. Done a nice job.
Montross on the floor with Stackhouse, Wallace, Phelps, and Williams for North Carolina.
Stackhouse ran into trouble that time. He really took it in too deep.
Cauley too strong. Montross the rebound, and then he threw it away. Missed Phelps with the outlet pass.
It's an uncharacteristic look to a North Carolina team that I've not seen this year. In fact, I've not seen the last 2 years. Turning the ball over. Really, that was an unforced error.
About as unforced as an error can be. McCullough to Agalu, an excellent shooter. As soon as we say it, he knocked it off the side of the backboard. Good hustle on the floor by Rasheed Wallace to keep it alive for Phelps. Wide open for 3. Williams the miss. Wallace another offensive rebound. Then it was batted away, but Williams collected and missed Montross. McCullough pushing. Has Agalu. And McCullough missed the easy layup. He's missed a couple.
Oh, that was tough. He's had 2. You're right.
So still a 6-point lead for Pitt. 21-15, 13-40 left in the first half. Stackhouse blocked. Second block for Mobley. Williams again alone for 3.
Going to keep him down. He's going to get his shots. He missed the one earlier, but came right back on that possession and hit it good. Antigua's open.
Too strong an air ball. Mobley. And gets called for the travel as he tried to hop around to get away from the 7-footer Montross.
That's what size will do to you, Sean. It intimidates you. Not only just the shot blocking ability of these 3 big men, but also the ability to intimidate.
Well, here comes Chris Gant after all the speculation today about whether he'd be able to play. He is in there with a sprained right ankle.
Number 24, Dante Calabria.
And this morning he was highly doubtful. You can see he's wearing padding. That ankle is heavily taped.
Only guy's got black shoes on the entire floor. Maybe a special kind of shoe, a special type built just to take care of those ankles. It doesn't come in white.
I guess not. Salvadori, the crowd thought he walked, then he threw the pass away. The Tar Heels have been sloppy lately. On the lob, Mobley couldn't field it from McCullough. Williams stripped by McCullough, saved by Agalu.
North Carolina really turning the ball over now. Not taking very good care of it.
Pitt in a hurry again. McCullough misses the 3. They're playing like Loyola Marymount in days of yesteryear, hurrying to get the shots up every time down the floor. The Panthers. Williams misses a 3 that would have tied it. And after a frenetic start, both teams have cooled off. The plays become sloppy as we approach 12 minutes remaining in the first half. Pitt leading by 3.
Like a game you might see on the streets of Pittsburgh.
Gant down the lane. And was fouled on the drive by Salvadori.
Foul on North Carolina committed by number 33, Kevin Salvadori. His second, the team's
Two
third.
fouls on Salvadori. 3 against the Tar Heels. Pitt has already committed 6.
Into the lineup for the Pitt Panthers.
And into the game for the Panthers, Jaime Peterson, a junior in his first year at Pitt as a junior college transfer from Champlain Junior College in Vermont. Jaime's originally from the Dominican Republic, grew up in New York City. Bad pass. Calabria got a hand on it.
Much as we've said about North Carolina turning the ball over, Pitt's doing just about the same thing. Neither club playing well at all right now. Another turnover by North Carolina.
Galu caused the strip and gets the layup. And it's Pitt by 5.
A little short attention span on these two clubs. Not really taking very good care of the basketball.
In a real hurry to push up shots. No need for a shot clock to this point.
Yeah, they could have 15 seconds instead of 35.
Williams, 4-3. Donald Williams scored in double figures in all 9 games this year. McCullough trying for the home run to Peterson and was knocked out of bounds by Rasheed Wallace. Timeout. 11:31 remaining in the first half. The Panthers basketball season, and we talked about turnovers after a very clean and impressive start by both sides. Turnovers are piling up. Pitt has taken advantage of the 7 Tar Heel turnovers to score 7 points. McCullough bounced it out off the leg of Phelps as North Carolina was trying to execute a half-court trap.
So almost every time you'll see Carolina, anytime that ball goes down the sideline, you'll see a double teaming situation occur. Pitt's got to be alert to that. Here it comes right now. Wallace is trying to chase McCullough. He can't catch up.
Galu to Mobley. And again, they look to trap McCullough.
McCullough doing a good job of avoiding that trap. He just runs away from it.
10 on the shot clock. Gant, the foul line. Awkward shot, too strong, as again Montross affected it. Gant tipped in by Mobley.
And that's the first offensive board effort we've seen from Pitt tonight.
4-point lead for the Panthers. If you're just tuning in, they jumped off to an 8-0 lead. Reese got stuck in the air but got away with it. And the baseline jumper knocked in by Rasheed Wallace, the freshman from Philadelphia. Galu from Athens, Greece. Spent last year in the Pittsburgh area in high school as an exchange student in Elwood City, PA. Mobley with the left hand got his own rebound and scored.
Oh, a terrific job inside by Mobley, right over Montross both times.
Mobley spent a lot of time this summer with Charles Smith, the former Pitt standout, now a New York Knick, working on offensive moves around the basket, and we're seeing the rewards of those efforts. Phelps in trouble. Crowd wanted a 3-second call. Phelps knew that might be upcoming and threw it away to a Galu. About as sloppy as you'll see a North Carolina team. Galu, the
Mobley.
They wave it off. They wave it off. They say he went over the back of Montross. And Paul Evans is livid.
Oh, what a big-time elevator move that was. Did he get up? Watch it again. Down underneath. Right side of the screen. Moving right in. Look at this move. I don't know about that one.
I don't agree.
I don't know about that one.
Montross was stuck under the basket by the time that happened. And
I think Paul Evans has all the justification in the world to be upset with that one.
the second foul on Mobley, so he goes to the bench, creating even more problems inside for Pitt. It's a 1-and-1 opportunity. There was a 7th-team foul against the Panthers. Montross makes the first.
Take a look at it again. Now you get a little different look at it from this angle. Look how Montross are really out of position a little bit there. In fact, he moved to the right just slightly, just as Mobley was coming into the picture.
Clearly there was contact, but Montross didn't really have the kind of position or balance or any of the things that ordinarily would earn you that call. And it wasn't exactly hard contact. It's a 2-point lead for Pitt midway through the first half. McCullough again guarded very tightly by Phelps, best defensive player in the ACC, says Dean Smith. Underneath, Pauly missed, and Peterson had it blocked and a foul called, and a mock cheer goes up from the nearly 18,000 on hand.
Well, obviously, that might have been a turnaround call on the inside. I'll tell you what, all of a sudden, Pitt has decided to go to the offensive glass, and they're working it pretty hard in there.
That's the third foul on Salvadori, who played his high school basketball here in Pittsburgh at Seton LaSalle High. It's only 4 team fouls against North Carolina. 3 of them belong to the 7-footer. And Wallace checks in for Salvadori.
Too bad they had to reach down and get a player like Wallace to replace Salvadori, huh?
No drop-off when Dean Smith goes to the bench more often than not. And Peterson tossed a brick. He's only 10 of 21 from the line coming into tonight, 47%.
Paul was telling us he signed with BC out of high school. Ended up here at Pitt. They're very pleased with his performance, too. He's been playing really well.
1 out of 2 for Peterson. The 3-point lead for the Panthers. They have not trailed in this one. Williams.
Makes no difference. Off the screen or off the dribble, he can get his shot up and get it down. He's got the prettiest jump shot. I mean, it's just like a picture. You draw it up. You can't do it any better.
Paul Evans has Jason Mayle in the game, a redshirt freshman wearing number 22. He's from Forest City, Pennsylvania. Cawley, McCullough, Mayle, Gant, and Peterson on the floor for Pittsburgh. Phelps, Williams, Wallace, Montross, and Stackhouse for the Tar Heels. And a travel by McCullough.
Too early to say if really that press will begin to have an effect on McCullough, because I just think he picked up his dribble way too soon. Didn't have anybody to pass to. Keep that dribble alive until you know you've got somebody who can deliver that pass right into their hand.
Carolina with a chance to take the lead for the first time tonight. They're down 8 early. They're down 1 at the moment. Cawley, the steal in the corner off the bounce pass from Phelps.
Cawley with good hands against Stackhouse down there.
Gant, strong drive, missed a shot, rebound Cawley. He was fouled.
Boy, are they getting on the backboard on this offensive end. Pitt is all over it. North Carolina not really contesting it much at all.
On 0-0, Eric Montross, his second, team score.
Foul was on Montross, his second. So 3 fouls on Salvadori, 2 on Montross, counting for all 5 of the North Carolina fouls. Willie Cawley is at the line. He's from Niagara Falls, New York.
Would you say he'd make a good tight end?
He would.
He's got some arms on him, doesn't he?
Matter of fact, he's had trouble early on, and Paul Evans thinks perhaps he spent too much time preparing play at Pitt by lifting weights. He's been a little tight, hasn't had very good hands. Likes a little more flexibility on the part of Cawley. The 2-point game. Wallace, bad pass. It came right back to him. It was so hard off the backboard, it went back to him near midcourt.
I don't believe I've ever seen a pass come off the board, go back to the guy who threw it there.
And Williams missed a jumper, and McCullough missed the pull-up. He's been ice cold early on.
All 3 of them right in front.
Gary McCullough's 0 for 6.
Something positive out of that is the fact that here they are, up 2, now tied, and McCullough 0 for 6. That's going to be positive for them if he ever gets hot.
The Panthers had an 8-point lead early at 8-0, and Carolina has come all the way back to tied at 29 with 8 minutes remaining in the first half. And Cawley lost it on the dribble, then great hustle by Gant with a sprained ankle to get it back. He wants a timeout, alert play. He got the timeout. Get the defense with the pass back to himself. Pitt to inbound in a tie game. McCullough guarded by McGinnis, who has just come in. Great block underneath by Stackhouse. Then Peterson lost it off his hand.
Boy, was that a terrific pass, though, from midcourt. McCullough doing a good job of handling the basketball, just not shooting it very well.
Jeff McGinnis is checked in, wearing number 5, the freshman with the ball from Charlotte out of Oak Hill Academy.
Pitt has stayed in that zone defense.
Williams for 3. The weapon. Tar Heels lead for the first time tonight.
The Donald is back.
Yes, in the Carolinas, he's the real the Donald. The other guy's getting married tonight.
Yeah.
Sure, a small, intimate wedding.
A couple of thousand of his best friends.
That's right. How were we let off the list?
We had a game to do.
Cawley rattled it in, then the Heels turn it over. Again, sloppy on an inbound play as Wallace couldn't connect with McGinnis. And Mail missed a three-point try. Gant the offensive board, and he was fouled. On the way up, they'll give him 2 free throws.
Sean, the one thing North Carolina didn't want to do is allow this crowd to get into this basketball game, and now they're into it. We get a feeling Pitt might be able to pull off a major upset here this evening.
Mobley comes back in with 2 fouls to replace Jaime Peterson.
Hey, something else Paul Evans has done. He's done a nice job of substituting, too. He's rotated his players in and out, giving them a chance to get a little bit of a breather out there and gotten them right back into the action. And having Gant in there has got to be a big uplift for them because they didn't think he was going to be able to play tonight.
Chris Gant, the junior from Houston, Texas, out of Smiley High School in his first year as a starter. And he has shown great improvement this year. Backed up Chris McNeil last year.
He's actually been in double figures in 5 of the 6 games they've played this year.
Double figures in rebounds in 3 of the first 6. He made the first free throw. Leading rebounder for Pitt. 3rd leading scorer with just over 11 per game. First free throw tied it. And that free throw puts Pitt on top again by 1. So it's really hard to believe that there is speculation about Paul Evans losing his job. All he's done since coming to Pitt is go 139 and 85. He's had 3 20-win seasons in his first 7. 6 postseason tournaments in 7 years. You wonder what more they want him to do. Almost all of his players have graduated.
I think he's going to have a good year this year. This is a very upperclassman-dominated team.
Jeff McGinnis, nifty drive down the lane.
Another one of those good players, good freshmen. Part of that great crew that Dean Smith brought in was Ennis, Wallace, Stackhouse, all 3 terrific players, good freshmen.
Antigua spent a lot of time on the bench in recent minutes. Mobley had it knocked out of bounds, and they say it hit Mobley after it was deflected by Stackhouse. North Carolina ball, the Heels with a 1-point lead. 6:20 remaining in the first half here at Civic Arena in downtown Pittsburgh. The Panthers will play 4 home games here this season. They've already played one. That was Saturday against Duquesne. Really a home game for both teams. The city rivalry. Offensive rebound and score by Brian Reese.
Reese had a terrific game against Ohio State the other day. Had 9 points and 7 rebounds. And coming off an injury, he's really had problems with an ankle all year long. Nice pass by Cauley.
And stuck underneath was Mobley, and he missed the shot. Got a couple of tips, and Cauley scored.
Had 3 Pitt players in there battling for it. Mobley comes up with it.
Looked like Montross was reluctant to pick up that 3rd foul. Didn't really contest. North Carolina by 1, 36-35.
Oh, a nice pass inside. Stackhouse gets the dump, and Williams with a terrific pass to the baseline.
Mail. Way off from 3. Way off from 3.
Pitt's extending that defense a little bit now. They're coming out to guard these Tar Heels. They shoot the ball so well out there. They have to come out and contest it somewhat, which should open it up for Wallace and Montross.
Wallace stepped around Mobley, then missed. Mail the rebound. And this is McCullough, who was a 2nd-team All-Big East selection last year. Now Antigua. He shoots short. Montross came out. Mail an NBA 3 and a swish.
Well, he was out there, huh? But he delivered it.
You have to call that airmail from beyond the NBA line. Montross way too strong. He thought he was hacked. No call. 39 all. 4 minutes left in the first half, and the crowd has returned. Montross just 1 for 3 from the field. Mail another NBA 3. And the air nailed the backboard that time. Timeout. 3:50 remaining in what's been a most entertaining first half here in Pittsburgh.
it my feet?
No. The champagne's not Corbel.
Corbel, for people who know champagne.
Why do we do this every year? Wait till the last minute to shop for the holidays.
What do we give Mom and Dad? Let's give Dad his lucky putter.
Yeah, the kids are upstairs.
Let's wrap the ice. Yeah, the ice cream.
Foot Locker. It's easy.
I'm gonna give you to Mommy.
Reebok, Fila, Nike. Oh, hon, don't look. I just found your gift.
You're my favorite fish, and I'm gonna wrap you up.
Do you have these cowboy jackets in small?
Michigan for Keith, Notre Dame for Gary.
Wrap the toaster.
You think they got us something?
Get the dog. The dog, boy, here, boy.
Imagine I'm an Infiniti J30 under assembly. So why am I just sitting here? Because if you want an incredibly precise body, you can't roll it around while you're building it. So, instead of moving the car around, Infiniti moves around the car. It's called IBAS construction. At your Infiniti showroom, you can learn about all the incredible thinking in this car. Because they wouldn't want you to appreciate them just for their bodies.
Lease one of the world's most advanced automobiles, now at a very special rate for a limited time.
Tonight at Fog Allen, it is Rock Chuck Jayhawk upside the head of Furman. Calvin Rafer behind the back to Woodbury. The touch pass to B.J. Williams. And the Jayhawks will be the first team to 10 wins. A little better game in Pittsburgh. Let's go back to Sean and Larry.
No holiday cheer for the Paladins.
None at all. Kansas is a good basketball team, Sean. Roy Williams is just reloaded out there. He lost all those key players from last year. Donis Jordan, Rex Walters, and they're just right back into it again.
Eric Mobley more than holding his own with Eric Montross. The battle of the big men here in the first half. These two teams have played with 39-all standoff with 3:40 left in the first half.
I think that individual matchup is pretty indicative of the entire game, really.
Montross trying to even the score. Threw up another air ball, and Gant gathered it in. McCullough, the lob, too strong for Mobley. It's on the floor. Again, Gant goes to the floor. And it's a held ball. The alternating possession. The Panthers will get it.
I wish they'd bring the jump ball back. I really do. In college basketball, I really think they ought to bring it back. They said the reason they took it away initially was because the officials couldn't throw it up straight. I don't buy that. I think officials can throw the ball up straight, give them a chance to do it. You really penalize the defense in a situation like this. Give the ball back to the offense, and the defense made a good move. Throw it up and let them jump it up there and hit it.
If they can't throw it up, they just make the players stand kind of tilted or crooked when they're lining up for the jump ball. That should make it fair. Montross back on the bench. And Calabria will take a seat as well as Stackhouse hustles into the ball game. Phelps, Reese, Williams, Wallace, and Stackhouse on the floor for UNC. Antigua had his shot altered by Wallace. Stackhouse dribbled through a double team and fed Reese, who missed the short one. Stackhouse blocked from behind by Mobley. His third block of the first half.
And that was the toughest block of all from behind. Gant blocked. Oh.
And that's Wallace again. He altered a shot a moment ago and then blocked it on the ensuing possession.
A block party here tonight.
Williams a miss. The rebound tipped to McCullough. Antigua on the run with Mail. It's 2-on-3. Right down the lane, Gant.
The trail. Always look for the trail. If you can't get the guy ahead of you, always remember you've got players coming from behind. That was a great cut inside.
Pitt back up by 2, 41-39. 2:23 left in the first half. Williams stepped inside the line and leaned into Mail and drew the foul. Really, as we mentioned, the blossoming of Williams, who has always been a solid player, began in the postseason last year when he was selected to the All-ACC tournament team. Then went to the East Regional, was on that All-Tournament team, and then was named the most outstanding player of the Final Four when he set records in the Final Four for three-pointers made with 10 and three-point percentage in the Final Four. 71% for Donald Williams from beyond the line. That chronicles the steady improvement of the junior from Garner, North Carolina. He has 14 points tonight in double figures again for the 10th time in as many games this year. Calabria gives him a breather.
North Carolina basically plays 9 players, and of course they've got the 3 big guys on the inside, but basically got 5 guys who can play guard out there. Did you see Stackhouse handling the ball a few minutes ago against his press? I mean, this guy's 6'7". He can bring it up.
To the finals, the Tar Heels have only practiced 3 times in the last week, and they looked a little bit rusty tonight. They didn't play a game Saturday against Ohio State, and they practiced yesterday in Chapel Hill before flying up to Pittsburgh. And Teague with a miss. Calabria cleared the miss.
Great. Plus hot
Cleared the miss.
Great. Plus hot prices on scanners that bring you all the action. Radio Shack has cordless phones for talking and small prices on pocket color TVs for watching. Radio Shack's sturdy, lightweight headset radio keeps everyone tuned in. For great gifts at blockbuster prices, hurry to Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
And welcome back to the Delta Faucet Halftime Report. There is a football game going on tonight, Monday Night Football. Remember that? The Giants, a couple of touchdown passes from Phil Simms. They lead the Saints in the Superdome in a critical game for the Saints' playoff chances. It's 14-0 in the second quarter. Back now to college basketball. Florida State battling Morgan State tonight, winning at 90-67 as Bob Sura throws in 21 points, pulls down 12 boards, and also dishes out 7 assists. Florida State shot 40 free throws, only 8 for Morgan State. Got to hand it to Dartmouth, the Big Green, playing a much tougher schedule this year, but taking their lumps, as you might expect, against Tom Davis's Iowa Hawkeyes tonight. Jamie Halligan, the driving lay-in for 2. Halligan, 11 early points. The Big Green up 16-7. Can they pull off the huge shocker? No. Dr. Tom tells James Winters just to step it up, and he does. Chris Kingsbury behind the back to Russ Miller to Winters for the dunk right here. 22-0 run late in the first half puts the Hawkeyes in control. And they coasted 102-58 is the final. Winters finishing up with 26 points. Iowa now 5-1. Northwestern beats Holy Cross by 6 points. The last time the Wildcats started out 7-0 was 82-83. That was their last postseason invitational. They went to the NIT that year. Cedric Nellums had 19 points. Penn State over Maryland Eastern Shore 81-54. John Amaechi 21 points and 9 rebounds. Florida now and Central Florida. The Gators coming off a disappointing loss to the rivals, the Seminoles, tonight, taking on Central Florida. And Craig Brown, nice pass to Andrew DeClerc. The Gators had an 8-point lead at the break, but Central hung around. Michelle Swaby, the nice reverse layup right here. Central Florida, the lead down to 3 for Kruger's club in the second half. But Jason Anderson, the rebound of his own miss and the finger roll, and the Gators eventually pull it out 83-69, playing without the assistant coach, R.C. Buford, who was serving that 1-game suspension for shoving Bob Sura in that game with the Seminoles the other night. We'll continue with more at the Delta Faucet Halftime Report, but as we go to break, still more scores. The Memphis State Tigers are playing Texas San Antonio, a very tight game, a 1-point Tiger lead in the second half.
Indulge your curiosities. Spice. Satisfy your appetite. Spice. Sit back and relax. Spice. You know you want it.
Celebration in town at your Toyota dealer. It's a 15th annual Toyota-thon. Take advantage of our one-price 2- or 4-door Tercel DX with extra value option package savings. Either one price. And the Toyota Touch lease on Corolla means low payments. Corolla's been a benchmark of quality in America for over 25 years. There are Toyota Touch leases on all car and truck models, and that can make Toyota quality very affordable. You could be driving home a new Toyota tonight. See your Toyota dealer now.
Back the most recent AP Top 25, Arkansas 50 first-place votes to 9 for Carolina. Duke had 3, Temple 2 first-place votes. Kansas, as we saw, about to win their 10th game. They are number 6, followed by Michigan. UMass stays where they are. UCLA, no change in the poll, and Purdue climbs into the top 10. Louisville, number 11. Indiana, right where they were last week, as is Arizona and Georgia Tech. UConn, undefeated, climbs into the top 15. Minnesota drops 1 to 16, followed by another Big Ten team, Wisconsin. BC still undefeated. Illinois and Cincinnati in the top 20. It's Syracuse, another Big East team. Oklahoma State, GW, Marquette, and the Hilltoppers, rounding out the latest AP Top 25. Reminder, the Maui Invitational is underway, and some of the Notre Dame players, Monty Williams, volleyball. Obviously, a little Globetrotter practice, getting ready for the game. It starts tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern, BC. They get on Chaminade, Ohio State, Tennessee Tech at 4 o'clock. 2 more games tomorrow night. At halftime of our game, it's North Carolina by 2 points over Pitt. Donald Williams feeds down low to Jerry Stackhouse, who finishes 47-45 heels.
Mr. Kemp on 2, doctor. Uh-oh. Sore throat, stuffiness. I'm getting a cold. I know what I need. A name I've counted on for years. From the makers of Advil. Advil Cold and Sinus. It's tough on colds, like Advil is on pain. Handles a sore throat, fever, aches, clears nasal congestion, and won't make me sleepy. Not that I could sleep around here.
Advil Cold and Sinus. Advanced formula for the cold season.
Safety is something we all think about. Buick has considered the subject from many angles. So for frontal impacts, Buick Regal offers a driver's side airbag. And for side impacts, Regal meets 1997 government safety standards right now. 3 years in advance. Why has Buick put so much into Regal? Because you put so much into Regal. Regal from Buick, the new symbol for quality in America.
Tony and Diane get regular insurance checkups, just like they get regular medical checkups. I'm State Farm Agent Carlos Bermudez. I have been their State Farm agent 7 years. A family insurance checkup helps them make sure all their coverages are up to date. It's also a good time to explore options, like how their life insurance plan can be adapted to help with their daughter's college education. I think the family insurance checkup is something everybody can feel good about.
State Farm is there. Okay, class, if a pizza with 3 toppings costs $10.99, what would I pay for 6 toppings?
$12.99, $15.99, $18.99.
Well, anyone? $10.99. Huh? The reason is...
It's Bigfoot! It's the Bigfoot Big 6 Pizza. Get our special 6 toppings for the 3-topping price of $10.99.
Are you sure you're the Pizza Hut guy?
Bigfoot from Pizza Hut, a legendary value.
Before the second half, we can update a couple of scores for you. Oklahoma State, it's now a final. They have beaten Tulsa 73-61. Big country pacing the 22nd ranked Cowboys. And South Carolina needed double overtime to beat South Carolina State 94-89. Emmett Hall, 20 points, 17 rebounds. All of that after halftime. Carolina and Pitt. Let's go back now to Sean and Larry at the Igloo.
Thank you, Chris. It's very comfortable inside the Igloo. Chilly outside. It was snowing as the crowd of 18,000 made its way into the building here tonight. Once they arrived, they've seen a pretty entertaining ball game. Sloppy at times, but you have to be impressed with the way Pitt is hanging in there with the Tar Heels.
A very quick start for Pitt, and they got off to a big lead, and all of a sudden North Carolina came back again. And you're right, Sean. I thought on both ends, neither club really took care of the basketball. They coughed it up. We had a lot of shot blocked in the first half, and Mobley was doing a lot of that by himself down on the Pitt end.
Let's take a look at statistics from the first half. The big key for North Carolina, their advantage at the free throw line, 15 out of 19, while Pitt was only 8 out of 13, accounting for the 2-point Carolina lead at the break. And the turnover pace slowed late in the half. For a while there, they were going up and down the floor, just handing it back and forth to each other.
And we had a couple of highlights in that first half, too. With the players, the way they were going up and down the floor, you obviously expected to see some outstanding play. Well, let's take a look at some of these first half highlights, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Right here, North Carolina with the basketball. Watch Donald Williams with it down and out. He had 14 in that first half. He's a deadly shooter from that range, and Pitt needs to go out. Eric Mobley had 4 blocks in the first half. This was one of those 4. North Carolina beginning to realize they cannot go in uncontested inside in that basket. McCullough with the basketball, working his way down the sideline, getting the ball in the corner, and Pitt delivering the bottom of the basket. Good follow there. Their offensive board work was outstanding in the first half, too. Watch McCullough on this move as he goes around Phelps, tries to throw up a very difficult shot because he knows he's got Wallace there, and Wallace committed the foul. McCullough did not have a good shooting first half, but his handling of the basketball and his defensive work was stellar.
North Carolina will have the ball to begin the second half. Leading score 16 for Williams, 11 for Cauley.
Pitt's going to open up in that zone defense again. They'll try to match up out of this. Keep an eye out for the lob.
That's a try for 3 from the left-hander Phelps. It wouldn't drop, but Montross tracked it down to the corner.
Very good shooting in that first half. The two clubs have been shooting it pretty well.
Reese fouled, and what a shot.
Just as I said that, he knocked one in, a difficult one. A little reverse English off the glass.
And you understand Mobley's frustration because that's his 3rd foul.
Brian Reese with a good baseline move after he got the basketball. He ran out of room, so he extended his body, reached across the other way. Look at that, nice extension. Got a little cue ball off the glass.
Reese makes it. And it's a 5-point lead for North Carolina.
Tar Heels right back into that pressure again. Phelps all over McCullough, much like he was in the first half. There's the double team. Good pass by Cauley.
And Sharif drives it in. It was the largest lead for North Carolina, 50-45. Now it's a 3-point lead for the Tar Heels. Montross blocked. Number 5 for Mobley. Montross had 6 points in the first half. 3-pointer would tie it back up for the Panthers. Cauley right down the lane, missed the layup. He knew Montross was in the area.
Yeah, the intimidation factor again.
Williams wide open for 3. 19 for Williams. He opened the season with 4 straight 20-point games.
I think he's going to make that tonight.
Cauley, good move, and the layup bounced in.
Get right back into that 2-3 zone. Reese has got a good look at it. He's going to get an offensive player control foul.
He had too good a look at Jerry McCullough. Charge called on Reese, his 2nd. Ryan coming off a strong game against Ohio State on Saturday. Dean Smith thought it was his best effort of the year. 9 points and 7 rebounds. The senior out of Collandine High School in the Bronx.
McCullough, who just threw that charge, was 0-5 in the first half. He had 4 assists and 4 steals. Talking about his floor game, it was outstanding. He just didn't score.
McCullough and Antigua got off to a quick start and then was quiet. Sharif might have been fouled, might have been deflected. Reese thought he was fouled. Reese passed up the 3. Tar Heels by 4. Reese active in the first 2 minutes, and he'll have another chance for a 3-point play.
Brian Reese got a wake-up call at halftime. He has come back with authority in his second half.
He only had 2 points at the break.
2 strong moves. One earlier on the baseline move, the 3-point play, and this time he takes it right down the guts. Gets inside right next to Montross and lays it off of the glass again.
And the worst possible news for Pitt, that's foul number 4 on Mobley. So he has to go to the bench. And look for the Tar Heels now to really try to take advantage of their size inside.
Yeah, now they've got Montross at 7 feet. They've got Salvadori at 7 feet. You can just about bet the ball's going to go inside against that defense of Pitt's.
Stackhouse comes into the game for Reese. Even with as hot as Reese has been here in the first 2 minutes plus, Dean Smith puts him on the bench.
Mystery substitution, huh? Take your hottest guy out right now?
With a 7-point lead. Nearly 2.5 minutes played here in the second half in Pittsburgh. Chris Gant. Strong move, then missed a shot, and Salvadori pulled it down and went flinging the elbows, and he was fouled. It's already 3 team fouls against Pitt. That personal against Jerry McCullough, his first.
Sean, that's what we're talking about, though. That offensive board work of North Carolina is going to improve, or defensive board work is going to improve significantly now with Mobley out of the game.
Tar Heels starting to pull away. They led by 2 at halftime. They trailed through most of the first half by as many as 8 points. Lob into Salvadori from Phelps, and Salvadori scores.
Might be time for a timeout. They're starting to get the ball inside awfully easily.
9-point lead for North Carolina. McCullough, the skip to Sharif. And he rattled it in. Khalid Sharif, the senior from Chicago. And at the other end, Stackhouse missed from in close. Stackhouse missed from in close. Montross tipped it in.
Forget it. The size is beginning to take over on the inside.
Cawley left alone at the foul line, and he missed it. And Gant called for a foul on the rebound action. And Tim Higgins looked over at the Pitt bench as if to say, that's enough out of you fellas.
I think somebody might have had a little chirp there. Jerry Stackhouse doing a terrific job for this freshman coming off of the bench. He's just really one of the most unselfish players. We want to go back and take a look at the freshman season of Michael Jordan and Jerry Stackhouse and how it matches up. You can see the numbers almost identical. Stackhouse with a little bit better assist numbers and rebound average. Now remember, that was a freshman career for Jordan. That was the entire year of Stackhouse just getting started.
Stackhouse got off to a very impressive start in his very first game. 15 points against Western Kentucky on 2. And the finish on the lob from Phelps. So after early struggles, North Carolina is starting to look like the #2 team in the country. And the Heels lead is 11 and still no timeout from Coach Evans. Will get the free TV timeout on the next whistle. Sharif. Baseline jumper from 15 feet.
They've got to be able to keep close to North Carolina so Mobley can get back in this game. I don't believe I'd leave him over there for more than 4 or 5 more minutes. They can get right out of this game in a hurry, but North Carolina can put together some impressive numbers.
Phelps left alone for 3. 12-4 run for the Heels. The lead is 12. McCullough blew by Phelps. And the pass blew by Sharif. He bounced it out off Phelps. Timeout on the floor. 15:22 remaining in Pittsburgh, where the Tar Heels lead by 12.
Someone very special is on that train. That's why you're driving a Buick LeSabre. You love its powerful V6 engine. Its anti-lock braking system. And its steel safety cage body unit. But you bought LeSabre for the dual airbags. One for you, and one for that very special person who sits next to you. LeSabre from Buick, the new symbol for quality in America.
A small touch, a certain look. It's the little things that are worth the most. Which is why every Delta faucet gives you more than you'd ever expect for the money. Giving you the money for those things you can't even put a value on. Delta, the way water is brought to life.
Tar Heels have built a 12-point lead, mainly on the strength of their inside play in the second half. Watch this great lob pass inside to this terrific freshman from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Jerry Stackhouse. Up in the air and down in the bottom. He does a little bit of everything and a little emotion at the end.
Since Mobley went to the bench with his 4th foul, about 2 minutes ago. North Carolina's dominated. 12-4 run. 4 more rebounds than the Pitt Panthers. Mobley still not back in the game. It's McCullough on the floor with Sharif. He looked for Sharif and missed him on the lob pass. Gant, Peterson, and Cauley, the other 3 on the floor for Pitt. Good hustle by Sharif to get a hand on the ball for the Panthers. Phelps, Calabria, Stackhouse, and Montross on the floor along with Wallace for the Tar Heels. As they went to huddle, Tim Higgins put the ball on the floor and started the 5 count, but North Carolina was alert to it.
Phelps got there in a hurry, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Ended the conversation abruptly. Calabria missed the open 3, got it back, and missed the 2. Rebounded by Cauley, who's had a good game tonight.
He was their leading scorer in the first half with 11.
Still no offense provided by McCullough in terms of points. Gant kicked it out for a 3-point try from Sharif. That's been a problem for Pitt ever since Jason Matthews graduated. They haven't been able to find the off guard to go with McCullough, the guy who can knock it in consistently from outside. Wednesday night, more NCAA basketball. It begins with Duke at Iowa. A little bit tougher opponent for the Hawkeyes than their guests tonight, the Big Green of Dartmouth. Then at 9:30, it's Maui Invitational semifinal game 1. And at midnight, semifinal game 2. That's all Wednesday here on ESPN.
Scheduling is very important.
Yes, it is. Tom Davis did a good job, I think. Bringing in his foes from the Ivy League. Calabria left open for 3. And to the delight of about 150 or so, for whom he provided tickets tonight, he rattled it in. 15-point lead for the Tar Heels in just over 5 minutes. In the second half, they've outscored Pitt by 13 and a chance to widen it as Salvadori pulled down the miss.
Not only the scoring, but the rebounding, too. Look at the inside work. North Carolina just scoring at will inside now. Mobley out of there. They've got to take a timeout.
And you should put Mobley back in, shouldn't you, Larry?
Absolutely. Get him back.
You're out of the game.
Absolutely.
14 minutes left. The Tar Heels pulling away.
Jim was going where no man had ever gone, into the darkest jungles of Malaysia.
Did you find it, Jim?
Yeah.
Thought you could use a cold one.
Great. Ice cold O'Doul's. Not alcohol, and hey, only 70 calories. Just right for a true adventurer like Jim. Jim was going where no man had ever.
When you want the refreshing taste of beer without the alcohol, think O'Doul's. It's what beer drinkers drink when they're not drinking beer.
Andre and Michelle are falling in love with America and their Park Avenue Ultra. They love the stopping power of Ultra's anti-lock brakes. They love the security of Ultra's dual airbags. And they have warm feelings about Ultra's available heated driver's seat. It's going to be a wonderful tour. Andre and Michelle are in love with a car that's as good as its name. Ultra from Buick, the new symbol for quality in America.
Morning. Okay, hold on.
Delta Faucet has over 1,000 different styles of faucets to choose from.
Wait, just a sec.
So there's a Delta Faucet that's right for everyone's needs.
Oh, okay, I'll get the food, you get the water.
Delta, the way water is brought to life.
And don't forget to turn it off.
17-point lead for the Tar Heels, and really Brian Reese, I think, probably happy to see Eric Mobley out of the basketball game because he's turned it on in the second half. 3 moves down on the inside, 2 of them on the baseline, and he's been able to convert all 3. Watch again the pass by Salvadori. Reese with a nice cut, the quick dribble, and the reverse.
It's a Berg thing. The homecoming for Dante Calabria and Kevin Salvadori, both from the Pittsburgh area. They had to hunt down 250 tickets between the 2 of them. This is one of those backyard games that Dean Smith plays, going back to the hometown of his players if they're from outside the ACC. Last year they played at Butler in Indianapolis for Eric Montross, and in Virginia Tech played a game in Roanoke for George Lynch. McCullough a miss, and Salvadori rips down another one. Salvadori really wasn't recruited by Pitt. It didn't matter. He would have gone to North Carolina anyway. He was recruited by Duquesne here in his hometown. Reese threw it away. And those fans put into the seats by Salvadori and Calabria, helping to account for the largest crowd ever to see an indoor event in the city of Pittsburgh, 17,716. A record for this building and for this city, passing even the big Slim Whitman concert a while back.
No.
Hard as that is to believe.
No, really?
Oh, we speaketh the truth.
North Carolina's changed to his own defense now. They've gone away man-to-man.
Good save by Gant as McCullough was sloppy with the pass. Calling has three-point range, but didn't knock that one in.
Pittsburgh ice cold now in the igloo.
They've been stuck at 53 for forever. Montross a miss. The 17-4 run, and North Carolina has scored the last 5 points in this game. And the play's getting a little ragged. Salvadori, Montross, the offensive rebound, and he was fouled by Gant. 2 fouls on Chris Gant.
Sean, I would say probably in the last 5 minutes that this game has been totally taken over by North Carolina inside, and now Paul Evans to the side. I've seen enough. Mobley's back in the game. It's all been on the inside, too.
Well, you would think that that will also be a problem for Pittsburgh in the Big East, with as physical as that league ordinarily is. If Mobley gets bounced around, they don't have somebody to help off the bench.
Well, in defense of Pittsburgh a little bit tonight, I mean, we do have one player, Gant, out there, and I'm talking about Chris Gant with the bad ankle. I mean, if he's healthy and he's mobile and moving around in there, he's actually their leading rebounder.
Salvadori followed up the miss of the free throw by Montross. Reese wide open, missed the 3. And a foul on the rebound action. Jerry McCullough called for pushing off. And the crowd lets the officials have it. That's 3 on McCullough. North Carolina's only been called for 1 foul here in the second half, and the foul on McCullough puts Pitt over the limit.
You got to find some way to get in there and get a rebound, huh?
I think the officials have done a good job tonight. It's just a product of the big edge physically that North Carolina has inside. Pitt forced the foul.
Memphis State with a little struggle tonight. Southern averaging 139 points a game last week, was leading the NCAA.
That's a fierce rivalry, New Mexico and New Mexico State. The lead is 20 with 12.5 minutes remaining. Sean McDonough with Larry Conley at Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. Agelu at his 3, rattle in and out. Montross swinging the elbows and called for the foul.
I tell you what, it could have gone just as easily the other way. Mobley and Montross were really getting into it down there. Take a look at it inside. In the middle, what's Salvadori with a good block out right there? Well, that's terrific block out. Montross has the inside. Now he's trying to get free. There's the push off right there.
Cawley, foul line jumper won't fall. Gant fouled, and words exchanged between Gant and Montross, and good work by the officials. Bob Donato and Tim Higgins in the middle of that quickly.
Well, Montross involved in 2 altercations underneath now. Watch again. I'm not too sure Gant didn't get a foul right there against Salvadori. He goes back inside. Foul's called against Montross. Was it Salvadori or Montross that got the foul?
It was Salvadori, his 4th. Got the first 3 very quickly in the first half, and now Gant is at the line. And they're off 53, up to 54 points now. North Carolina had scored 11 straight. Salvadori goes to the bench with 4. Montross playing with 3. Mobley spent several minutes during which North Carolina pulled away on the bench with his 4 fouls here in the second half. 73-55 North Carolina. 12 minutes remaining here in Pittsburgh. Phelps on the floor with Stackhouse, Wallace, Montross, and Williams. And that'll be a 2-shot foul. And Mobley's hopping mad as he has fouled out.
The question is why? Why even get close to a 5th foul?
That is his 5th and final personal foul.
Watch it again. Down underneath. Phelps with a good bounce pass. Wallace is right there. Is there any question? Not in my mind. He got him right across the arm.
5 block shots.
Mobley pegged with his 5th. With 11:53 remaining. 8 points, 7 rebounds.
Coming in for the Panthers, number 21.
5 block shots.
And number 44, Orlando Antigua.
For the senior out of the Bronx.
Yeah, that's something he's going to have to control this year. He's got to stay in basketball games for Pitt to even have a chance. I mean, here he is playing against the number 2 team in the country, and he's going to say, as you said earlier, he's going to face some good clubs in the Big East. He's got to find ways to stay in there. Cannot commit those foolish fouls.
5 points now for Rasheed Wallace. Go along with 7 rebounds. In the win over Cincinnati on November 19th, Rasheed had 12 points and 13 rebounds. The first double-double by a North Carolina freshman since Pete Chilcutt had one against Syracuse in 1987. Agalu turned down an offer of $185,000 to play professionally in Greece, and that's why they were willing to spend the money for him, his outside shooting ability.
Not Pitt, the team over there.
That's right. An important distinction. Tyrus' brother is a pro player over in Greece. Phelps missed a baseline left-hander and got it back after the scramble on the floor. Williams,
he won't miss.
22 for the Donald. (78-58). Antigua has done very little since those 8 quick points. Good play by Peterson. He knocked it out of bounds off Phelps, and Pitt will get it back.
Sean, the point I was making earlier about North Carolina is they can hit you with numbers so quickly. I mean, they get runs of 14-2, 11-0, 16-5, and they've got so much talent they can reach down on that bench and bring out there to give guys who are out there a rest. And Dean Smith's doing that right now. He's getting other people into the game. Your concentration has got to be a strong 40 minutes to play this club because they're so deep and so talented.
Here's a team, North Carolina, went 34-4 last year, won the national championship, returned 6 of their top 8 players, and bring in 3 highly recruited freshmen. The depth so impressive that Pat Sullivan, who was an impressive role player last year as a junior, decided to redshirt this year, realizing that he probably wouldn't play very much as a senior this season.
Yeah, when you look back on the history of North Carolina basketball, Dean Smith, his first 5 years, he did not have very good first 5 years. Then after that, all of a sudden, things just turned for him in the late 60s. He's had nothing but great basketball teams since. His clubs are always competitive, and I think one of the real great innovators of this game.
Peterson missed the second. It was rebounded by Salvadori. Dennis had trouble with the dribble. 78-59 North Carolina. The lead was only 2 at the half. They trailed 8-0 out of the gate. Salvadori scores. Him and his 2 brothers were in attendance tonight, the shortest of whom is 6'7". His dad Al played in the ABA after a career in South Carolina. Agalu, an NBA 3 off the back iron, and a foul called on the rebound action. We have a lot of body contact here tonight. We expect similar action on the ice tomorrow night at Joe Louis Arena when the Red Wings and Sergei Fedorov play host to Jeremy Roenick and the Chicago Blackhawks. Face off between 2 of the league's top scorers. Fedorov at the moment locked in a battle with Wayne Gretzky and Mark Recchi for the NHL scoring title. That's tomorrow night at 7:30 here on ESPN. And Salvadori has fouled out. Well, he had a rather short stint on the hardwood in front of the home folks.
Pretty close to a good block, too.
And you could read Dean Smith's lips. He said that was a bunch of bad calls against him. 6 points, 10 rebounds for Salvadori. So even though he didn't get many minutes, he was productive. Only played 7 minutes in the first half due to the foul trouble.
And from that angle up top, he got a lot of ball. Kevin Salvadori felt felt the same way.
And he is a proficient shot blocker. Came into tonight's action needing only 11 blocked shots to pass Brad Doherty and move in number 4 on the all-time Tar Heel blocked shots list. Peterson made the first. UCLA winner at Houston tonight.
Maybe the best team in the West. I think it'd be down between they and Arizona. Arizona's pretty good too.
You saw Arizona?
Yeah, I did. I like Arizona's club. Very quick.
Midway through the second half, North Carolina leads by 19. Williams missed.
Wallace dropped it in. Didn't move inside. He got the inside position that time instead of calling.
Rasheed Wallace. Perhaps the most highly recruited player coming out of high school basketball last year. Simon Gratz in Philadelphia. Galu stepped back behind the line. McCullough too hot for Jaime Peterson. And McInnes was fouled as the Heels looked to break. Galu whistled for the foul. His first. Sotiris, another one who did a lot to come back from an ankle injury. Sprained his ankle in practice on Wednesday and spent 5.5 hours in the training room. Was still on crutches on Thursday. Finally was able to walk on Friday and wound up playing Saturday night against Duquesne, and he's been one of the productive newcomers for Paul Evans.
A great quote for Paul Evans when he got ready to come back. He says, "Coach, it's better than the other ankle."
That's right. By the time all that work had been done. I mentioned earlier that the Tar Heels uncharacteristically struggling from the line coming into this one, but not tonight. 23 out of 28. That's what you expect out of a North Carolina team. McInnes made the first. Garrick Thomas checks in for the first time tonight for Orlando Antigua. Thomas, a sophomore from Houston, Texas, out of MacArthur High School, where he is the all-time leading scorer. Reese followed up the miss in the corner. 83-61 North Carolina. 8:20 remaining. Blocked underneath. Nice block by Peterson. With McInnes there to follow. That's the largest lead for the Heels. 24 points. McCullough continues to have a very quiet night.
And North Carolina continues to drag everything off of the glass on both ends.
McCullough now 0-7 from the floor. And a foul underneath, and more pushing and shoving. Wallace and Peterson, the combatants. I believe the foul was on Wallace as he tried to clear out room to receive the pass.
North Carolina.
It was on Rasheed Wallace.
His third, team 6.
And that creates a 1-on-1 situation as it gets North Carolina to the limit.
Tar Heels got to that 7th foul pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, I think they saw it was 7-1. And all of a sudden it's 9-7 in fouls.
There's a free throw percentage. You can see right there how well Carolina's done in this game. Pitt not too bad themselves. 13 out of 19.
So Gant goes to blind, and he certainly deserves a lot of credit. His ankle badly swollen this morning. Missed the shoot-around. Got treatment all day and wrapped it up and came out here to play tonight and has played pretty well with 8 points.
In fact, you can see that wrap really on his right ankle there. It goes all the way up about mid-calf. See how big, how much larger it is than the left ankle. Painful thing to have. If you step on somebody's foot, you turn an ankle like that. The swelling just is a very the mobility factor is a problem. You just don't have a chance to move sideways, or you don't have that good breakaway speed.
And you're right about Pitt. Even though the defending national champs are pulling away here, you have to think that they're going to be a factor in the Big East. Already 2-0 in league play and atop the conference standings. Montross the slam dunk.
Peterson no match for Montross inside. I mean, we might be talking a difference of 100 pounds here too.
13 points now for Montross. Eric Thomas, a streaky outside shooter, gave it to Peterson. Several steps down the lane. But a foul called as there was contact with Brian Reese. 3 fouls on Reese.
You know, when you're big and strong like Eric Montross, you're going to draw a lot of people. Watch this right here. As he goes down inside, gets into the paint. Look at this move right here. See, Peterson has no chance. He's got it, the good spin move. What he does, he feels the defense on the right side, spins away from the defense, and no help on the other side by Pitt. He just goes in and dunks the ball. That's what you would do if you were 7 feet, right?
Yes. I'd have to have quite a growth spurt. Peterson. They'd like to see him get a little bit bigger in terms of musculature. Paul Evans impressed with Heine's game. Says he runs the floor well, has some skills, but they'd like to see him muscle up and get a little bit stronger inside. He made a couple. The lead is 22 for North Carolina. We approach 8 minutes remaining here in Pittsburgh. Stackhouse. Blocked by Peterson. Stackhouse got it back and was fouled. Stackhouse stuck with it and was able to draw the foul from Chris Gant. And that's his 4th. And if he goes out with fouls, it really could be ugly underneath.
You know, one of the stats they don't keep in basketball, we don't need another stat, by the way, but one of the stats they don't keep in basketball are loose balls, people who come up with loose balls. And I really judge a basketball team by their ability to pick up balls on the floor, balls that are batted around at eye level, those types of things, because it's indicative, I think, to teams that have good, quick hands. And North Carolina seems to come up with an awful lot of loose balls.
1 out of 2 for Stackhouse with 15 points in his first game as a Tar Heel in the preseason NIT against Western Kentucky. The most points by a Carolina freshman in his opening game since Rick Fox in 1987. And Stackhouse saw that pass coming from McCullough and goes in for the reverse jam. Crowd thought that Gant was fouled by Stackhouse. And a timeout called by Pitt as Paul Evans glares at the officials.
Tune in to Prime Ticket Sunday through Friday for all the scoops, scores, highlights, and interviews on Pressbox. Sports News nightly at 10, only on Prime Ticket. Sports LA style.
Since 1946, Rod's Grill has been home to delicious slow-roasted beef, homemade chicken noodle soup, and gravies, sauces, and dressings, all made from scratch. These are just a few of the over 200 menu items prepared fresh daily in our kitchen and cooked to your order. At Rod's Grill, we cook the old-fashioned way, using only tried and true family recipes. Come home to Rod's Grill, 41 West Huntington Drive, Arcadia, and come home to flavor, freshness, and quality.
Island of Maui. College basketball Hawaiian style. The Maui Invitational starts tomorrow only on ESPN. Aloha. The Blackhawks. The Red Wings. Fierce rivals battle as the Blackhawks face the Red Wings. Tomorrow, live on ESPN National Hockey Night.
Tonight in Houston, they celebrated the 25th anniversary of that game of the century when Big E and company took on Alcindor and the Bruins, and they retired Big E's number. And then after that, UCLA went out and clocked the Cougars. Tyus Edney to Charles O'Bannon. He had 16. His brother Ed had 18. And UCLA moves to 6-0. So that's now to Sean and Larry in Pittsburgh.
North Carolina up by a 90-65 score. Right now you see Gant and Stackhouse battling midcourt, and Gant's wondering what the license plate of that truck was that just went past him and got the jam. It was Jerry Stackhouse, folks.
Number 42. 8 of the 12 Carolina players at some point or another this year have scored in double figures in a game, and they have balanced scoring again tonight. Led by Williams with 22, Montross 13, Reese 10, Stackhouse has 11. Three-pointer for Garrick Thomas, his first points tonight.
One of the stats I was reading, Sean, coming into this game that impressed me was the fact that North Carolina has had 8 of their players in double figures this year. Obviously, they're going to have a few more tonight. It's going to be the same guys, probably.
Montross missed with the left hand. A tip by Stackhouse rolls off, and Stackhouse was fouled. And while we have a moment, let's check the Buick storyline. This game was tight at the half. 47-45 was the score in favor of the Tar Heels, but a 20-4 run here in the second half opened it up. Williams has been Williams, and Pitt had trouble inside after jumping off to that early lead. The Tar Heels took advantage of their strength inside and the outside shooting Williams to gradually chip away. It's just about what we thought it would be when we talked at the top of the telecast about the importance of Mobley to fare well and stay in the game, and McCullough to do his thing.
He really had to have the game of his career, I said earlier on, for them to be able to stay in this game. Look at this. They're even getting the rebounds off the missed free throws. I think that's about the 5th rebound they've gotten off of a missed free throw.
Rebounds this half, 26-6 in favor of North Carolina.
There's your story. If we had room on the storyline board, we'd have put it on there.
North Carolina has scored 46 points in 13 minutes here in the second half. They lead 93-68.
Sean, you and I spend a lot of time watching college basketball all year long, and living in the South, I see a lot of North Carolina. This is a basketball team with Duke right there and on their heels, their Tar Heels. I've got to believe that those two clubs, along with Georgia Tech, probably going to be 3 teams contesting that ACC championship this year. But North Carolina is just too good, I think, for everybody else in the league. Now, what's your feelings about the Big East with Pitt?
I think, you know, in a year when the Big East picture's muddled, they have a chance to contend. Showtime. Williams put it up there for Stackhouse, but a little too strong was the pass. You know, there is no clear-cut favorite. Georgetown was the pick in the preseason poll, with Syracuse second. I think Boston College is really a team to look for in the Big East. Off to a 6-0 record, already wins on the road at Syracuse and Arizona State. And they have senior nucleus, which is so important in a competitive league.
I'll tell you another club in the Big East I've been impressed with so far has been UConn. I think Jim Calhoun's club's off to a terrific start. Marshall Twin Boys are getting it done too.
They're off to a better start than many expected. Antigua has 11 points. Those are his first points of the second half. McGinnis lost it to McCullough. Antigua. Nice move to shield the ball from McGinnis and lay it in. 95-73. North Carolina with 5:40 remaining here at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. Calabria, his family in attendance, including his dad Chad, who played on some great Iowa teams in the late 60s. Jerry Ralph Miller.
And again, the lob pass right over Peterson, went right into Wallace's hands, and an easy layup. No help on the backside.
And Wallace, the easy 2.
Watch again. Good spin move right here. McGinnis trying to come up with it. He lost it. Antigua's got it going the other way. Watch him stick to this ball in his hip pocket. No, I'll take it back.
There's Orlando Antigua. You followed the Big East, you probably heard the story by now, as Wallace missed the free throw. Antigua, minding his business in New York City, was struck by a stray bullet in the head. And they didn't dare take it out because it was lodged in a precarious place. Wasn't causing any problems, but the surgery was deemed too dangerous. Finally, he started getting headaches this summer, and they realized the bullet had shifted to right behind his ear, and they took it out. And told Orlando was going to make a necklace out of the bullet fragments. Peterson with the slam as he went up over Calabria.
Well, Sharif with a 3, Peterson with the dunk. Maybe Pitt's getting ready to make a mild run here.
They're down by 19 with 4:44 remaining. Wallace had it bounced in and out. It was tipped by Thomas to Peterson. Pittsburgh came in at 5-1. The only loss on the road at West Virginia. The Coliseum, a very tough place to play in Morgantown. And Gail Catlett is another good team this year. Tariq, another 3. And it would certainly help the Panther cause this year if he could provide that shooting that they've been looking for from the 2 spot ever since Jason Matthews departed. Sharif has 15 tonight.
2 threes in a row now for him. Sandwich between or was the bread in the sandwich of the dunk.
McCullough has 10 assists despite his lack of scoring tonight. Stackhouse the basket. And another foul underneath called against the Panthers. This one's on Garrick Thomas, whose brother Marcus is a freshman recruit at the University of Connecticut.
John, one of the tools we use in basketball is a shot chart. And I can guarantee you, if we were looking at the shot chart right now in the paint for North Carolina in the second half, you wouldn't be able to see the paint. There'd be nothing but X's all over it. because they've gotten every shot in the inside, and they've been able to convert most of them.
Chance to empty the bench now for Dean Smith. Serge Zwicker has come in. Zwicker is from the Netherlands, freshman at 7'2", played last year high school at Harker Prep in Potomac, Maryland. Here's Landry has also checked in, wearing number 22 for North Carolina. Stackhouse with 16 points and 9 boards. 17 points and a timeout on the floor. 3:59 remaining here at Pittsburgh. The Tar Heels have reached 100.
See that little black square on your Buick Park Avenue's key? It's worth a lot of money because it can save you a substantial amount on auto insurance. It's an electronic device that activates your ignition. You can drive your car, but a would-be thief cannot. You won't find this feature on Mercedes or Lexus. You will find it on Park Avenue from Buick, the new symbol for quality in America.
Before you thought to dream, Canon had a vision. Before you have a problem, Canon has the solution. We have a way of looking ahead to give your office unlimited possibilities right now. When the rest say you can't, Canon says you can. Canon. Now you can.
How come your cold symptoms come back? Your pill doesn't last 24 hours. Effidac 24 does. Sudafed lasts 6 hours, Tavist 12. But one Effidac gives consistent relief 24 hours. 24-hour Effidac keeps cold symptoms from coming back.
You know, winning a Super Bowl was great, but now I'm winning with Interstate batteries.
We won the ultimate NASCAR race. We won the Daytona 500.
Get an Interstate battery wherever you see this sign. We check them before you buy them. For fresh power, guaranteed.
Welcome back to Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. The visiting Tar Heels on their way to their 9th win against 1 loss. The only blemish that lost in the NIT against Massachusetts. The big story tonight, the rebounding advantage. 55-31 in favor of North Carolina. Minus 21 on the boards for Pitt tonight. A team that came into tonight having rebounded its opponent in every game by an average of 11.2 per game.
That's a big turnaround, huh?
Yeah, it should be 55-34.
You were a math major.
Well, I certainly was not, but every now and then I surprise even myself with the mathematics. Fouls on Pierce Landry.
Not a very happy bench over there, that Pitt bench.
And Sharif is at the line. He's out of a terrific high school program, Martin Luther King in Chicago. They were 32-0 his senior year and #1 in the nation. The foul was on Landry, playing on the varsity level for the first time in his career. He's a junior from Greensboro. He's been on the JV team the last couple of years. He's a tremendous student. Matter of fact, came to North Carolina on a Morehouse scholarship, a prestigious scholarship at the University of North Carolina. And because the scholarship would have counted against the basketball allotment, he couldn't play for the varsity the first 2 years.
Too smart for his own good, huh?
Yes. Calabria fed McInnes. Way too strong off the glass, but Jeff tracked it down in the corner. Larry Davis into the game for the first time. Had it deflected by Peterson. Volleyball underneath. Davis fouled by Peterson. I think Peterson just got tired of jumping.
That's about the 3rd time Peterson's gotten frustrated watching everybody bounce up and down off the trampoline over there, getting rebounds. He says, I'm just going to commit a foul and send him to the line. I'm tired of watching this. Watch it again down underneath. You'll see the Tar Heels going to battle on the offensive glass, which they've done a lot of in this second half. Peterson said, that's enough. I'm not going to do this anymore.
That's his 4th jump in the sequence. He finally just grabbed the arm of Larry Davis. Larry's the first scholarship player from the state of South Carolina to play for Coach Smith. Wants to pursue a career in sports broadcasting when he leaves. Another guy after our jobs.
Yeah. There are more and more of them every year.
He's got a while to worry about it, though. He's just a sophomore. The lead back to 20 as we approach 3 minutes remaining. Cullen guarded by Calabria.
What was that?
Not quite sure what the intent was, pass or shot. But at this point, Paul Evans doesn't seem particularly concerned. Fouls on Pierce Landry, his second. And here's Andre Ulrich into the game for the first time. Sophomore from Queens.
Paul Evans is going to have a chance to look at a pretty rewarding year this year. I think this basketball team will get better if they can stay injury-free. They're not very deep. I thought maybe coming into this game we'd see some depth from them, but having watched them play almost 40 minutes of basketball now, I'm not sure they are. But with a healthy Gant in there, this is a basketball team that can contend in the Big East. Contend close.
And we talked about his reportedly precarious job status. Paul Evans here at Pitt. Strong drive by Davis, and he missed it. Zwicker, the follow. I spoke with Oval James, the athletic director at Pitt, before the game tonight about Paul Evans' status. That should we read into the fact that he hasn't been given a contract extension, that he's not coming back, and he said absolutely not. We'll get around to the business of talking about a contract. That Paul's been a big winner here, and all the players have graduated. Why wouldn't he come back? So even though the newspapers have been filled with speculation that Evans is on the way out, traveling the call with Peterson along the baseline, the indication I got without actually an ironclad commitment from the athletic director was that Paul Evans will be back. If that's the case, you wonder why they wouldn't extend his contract by now to make it a little bit easier when he goes out to recruit.
Good question.
Antigua scores with 2 minutes remaining. 104-85 Tar Heels. Tar Heels came in averaging 90 points per game. Dean Smith says this might be the best team he's had in terms of offensive skill, and they're proving that point tonight.
John, I want you to take a look to his right there. His assistant coach, Bill Guthrie. To his left was Phil Ford. In fact, Phil Ford is the career scoring leader at North Carolina. That's the North Carolina Brain Trust right there. Bill Guthrie just been with Dean Smith for 27 years. You know, I think that's really important. It lends a little consistency. There's Bill right there. Consistency and stability, I think, to a coaching staff. You understand what the main man wants to do, and he's carried out those orders just terrifically. He's had a lot of job offers over the years, had chances to leave, but he's not going to leave. He likes it at North Carolina and wants to stay there, and I think it's been a big asset to Dean Smith.
Sure has been. What a nice man he is. Jaime Peterson back at the line. He made the first. Coming up next, the 93 IndyCar year in review. Relive the exciting 93 IndyCar season. Nigel Mansell was the PPG Cup championship winner in his rookie year. Among the highlights we'll relive following the basketball game. Chris Gant checks in as we check out the AP top 5 that shows North Carolina at number 2, Arkansas number 1. You've seen those clubs. Is that the way you'd shake it up?
Yeah, I would. I've seen 4 of the 5, and haven't seen Duke, witnessed Duke on TV against Michigan. An outstanding effort. I think Duke's got a lot of talent themselves. I think Arkansas deserves to be number 1. This is a really good basketball team. They're as deep as North Carolina is. Same kind of size, same kind of quickness. They just attack the basketball. I mean, they really come after you. Nola Richardson's got a terrific club. John Chaney's Temple team is an interesting club to me because while they're very, very talented in that first 5, the talent drops off dramatically after those 5. And then Kentucky is almost a mirror of Arkansas. A lot of depth, a lot of quickness, also attacking of the basketball. Disappointing loss, I know, to Indiana up in Indianapolis, but again, a basketball team is going to be right there at the end. The Arkansas-Kentucky game, I think, is going to be a dynamite game, as will the North Carolina-Duke games that will be played this year.
Sharif, the free throws. Foul was on Calabria, his second. Tough to tell what the conversation is about over there.
Well, I think what happened was Dean Smith called a timeout, but he told him to stay on the floor. He wanted to get some other players into the game.
That's what it was.
And he just said, stay on the floor. I'm calling a timeout, but we're not going to take the timeout.
You can understand why you wouldn't want to talk it over. We're ahead by 15 with a minute and a half left. Look out there. We almost had the play in our laps as Sharif and Calabria went for it along the sideline. And for those of you who were snoring seconds ago, the IndyCar year in review is coming up next.
Wake up, we're coming back.
That's right.
You're going to watch that one in your rear view mirror.
The noise of those cars moving around the track should keep them wide awake. Sharif hit the front iron with his first free throw.
A lot of viewers on ESPN for all types of car racing.
Well, here comes the starting five back in for the most part. Williams, Montross, Reese, Phelps, and Stackhouse are in. The bench guys go back to the bench, and the fans boo, wondering what the point of this is.
I'm not sure what it is myself. Unless he wanted to take the group out, give him a little bit of applause. The crowd, the North Carolina crowd, and there are a few people here for the North Carolina group.
I think he didn't like the way those guys were playing, apparently. And the crowd is serenading him in a way that isn't too kind. And Paul Evans didn't seem to appreciate very much either. $20 points for Sharif, one of the best nights of his career. His lead is down to 14. Maybe that had something to do with it. Williams fouled on the drive. Both Aldridge and Sharif were there. It's on Aldridge, his first. He hasn't played much since coming to Pitt as a freshman last year. Only got into 8 ball games. He only played in 3 of the 6 prior to tonight this year for Pitt.
You know, Sean, with the advent of the three-point shot now, you can get back in a game pretty quickly. You know, you get 3 or 4 in a row, you can knock down a 20-point lead just a blink of an eye.
The 23rd point of the night for Williams.
Dean Smith catching a little verbal abuse from the crowd here.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that the record crowd here is covering itself in glory with what we've been hearing the last few seconds.
I think you make a good point, though. I mean, they were back in the game because
it's down to 14.
It was down to 14. Absolutely.
Coach Smith has always been one of those people who believes you earn your playing time, and even when it comes to the deepest bench warmers, if they're out there not performing well, not earning it, they're going to come back to the bench. 106 to 90. We tick down to a minute remaining. Sharif the miss, Antigua, and Cauley with a couple of follow try. Now Cauley missed everything from 3-point range. Paul Evans is up off the bench, wanting a foul. So North Carolina with this win will go to 9-1. While Pitt with a loss will fall to 5-2. Still 2-0 in the Big East.
They're going to sit on it. And a little bit of a break right now. Christmas break for Tar Heels. These guys are going to break up and head home after this game tomorrow.
The seniors, which Dean Smith told them rather not play over the break. A while back when the schedule was still being formulated. We'll have Christmas with the family.
They haven't been at home at Christmas for 3 years.
No.
Yeah, they've been to Hawaii.
This group hasn't been, and no Tar Heel team has been home over the holidays, as we mentioned, since 75, 76. We could have gone back to Maui. They might have decided to forego Christmas at home. Don't forget the Maui Invitational begins tomorrow with a full day of basketball action from Hawaii here on ESPN. Starts at 2 Eastern time. Antigua a long 3.
Gant and Montross are into it again.
And Montross looked at the bench. Dean Smith told him to stay away from Gant. And North Carolina comes to Pittsburgh for the first time in 22 years and wins. In most impressive fashion in the second half, and again at the buzzer, Gant and Montross had to be separated. And Paul Evans, less than friendly handshake, but Dean Smith. Final score 106-93 North Carolina. For Larry Conley, Sean McDonough saying so long from Pittsburgh.
ESPN's exclusive coverage of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America.
I'll I'll tell you where the time goes. Every year I spend 3,000 hours sleeping, 500 hours commuting, 2,000 hours working. Then I get this idea, boing. Every day for lunch, I order one of McDonald's extra value meals. Now, I'm not only saving money, I'm in and out so fast, I figure I'm saving 5, 6 hours a week, huh? That's nearly 2 weeks of free time a year. So, in 12 months, I'm gonna have all this extra cash, plus 2 extra weeks. And right now, I'm thinking Hawaii.
What you want is what you get.
What?
At McDonald's today.
Why do we do this every year? Wait till the last minute to shop for the holidays.
What do we give Mom and Dad? Let's give Dad his lucky putter.
Yeah, the kids are upstairs.
Let's wrap the ice. Yeah, the ice cream.
Foot Locker. It's easy.
I'm gonna give you to Mommy.
Reebok, Fila, Nike. Oh, hon, don't look. I just found your gift.
You're my favorite fish, and I'm gonna wrap you up.
Do you have these cowboy jackets in small?
Michigan for Keith, Notre Dame for Gary.
Wrap the toaster.
You think they got us something?
Get the dog. The dog, boy, here, boy.
Come fly the airline that spans more than half the world. United. Come fly the friendly skies.
IndyCar racing is spectacular and special for so many reasons. It's a racing retrospective as we look at the 1993 IndyCar season review. We're at the Indianapolis shop of Derek Walker Racing, ready to take a look at the 1993 season. This is the car that Robbie Gordon will drive in the PPG IndyCar World Series in 1994. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a look back at a season that was certainly interesting owing to the presence of Nigel Mansell.
That's right, interesting and I think very different. Mansell's move to IndyCar racing just brought a tremendous global interest. Over 100 countries watched the broadcast of each of these races. In fact, if you can believe it, our broadcasts were translated into the Mandarin Chinese language. But Mansell brought an unusual bravery and excitement to IndyCar racing that it has never seen before.
It was a season that saw many changes as well. At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the world's greatest race course, they eliminated the apron, made the track much narrower. They're still talking about that.
I'm not sure the arguments were ever resolved whether that was good or bad, but for whatever reason, we ended up with one of the best Indy 500s we had ever seen. Of course, at the end of the day, Emerson Fittipaldi for Penske managed to snatch it away from Bozell. Now, he didn't finish second, but he almost won that race. But a rule infraction, because of the changes in the racetrack, cost him the Indy 500, he believes.
And it's important to have teams like Bozell's team in the operation.
One of the unique things about IndyCar racing is that teams can literally go and buy an IndyCar, go and rent an engine package or lease an engine package and be competitive. That is one of the unique features which Nigel Mansell believes IndyCar racing must protect so as the grassroots of IndyCar racing can continue to flourish.
He also started the Indianapolis 500 without the defending PPG champion in the field.
Can you believe that one of the big stories was the failure of Bobby Rahal and his team to qualify for one of the biggest races in the world? And that gives you a measure of just how competitive this sport has become. Because remember, there were 33 starters, and he couldn't even get one of those positions.
Some other fairly significant names missing. Rick Mears retired over the winter, a four-time Indianapolis 500 winner. And then on the first day of time trials, A.J. Foyt announced his retirement, the first four-time winner of the Indianapolis 500. But that gave the opportunity for new names and faces to come along. Paul Tracy, one of them, who may have had both the best and the worst season of his career.
And I'm not sure we should lay all the blame on Paul Tracy's door for the failure of Penske to win this championship, because they had every opportunity with some of the best drivers, certainly the best car, and some of the best engine packages. But some critical mistakes by Tracy, particularly at Phoenix. Remember, Nigel Mansell was in the hospital. Tracy had the race wrapped up. He crashed. That may have cost Penske and Tracy the championship.
There are other thoughts on this season as well. Let's begin with Jan Bigas.
Speaking with the drivers after practice and qualifying sessions, Paul, this season there's been a common theme. The drivers talk about the fact they can't seem to find the balance of a car. Well, what's the balance? An Indy car, when it goes through corners, needs to slide across the road equally. You don't want the front tires giving up first or the rear tires. If the front tires give up first, it's called push. If the rear of the car kicks out, it's called a loose condition. What the drivers are looking for is that balance in between. What has happened, especially with the Lola chassis, is people say it's very hard to find that balance, and it's like a teeter-totter. In other words, when the car is pushing, they make a slight chassis adjustment, then the next time the car goes out, it flip-flops to the other side, and then the car is loose. Finding that sweet spot with the Lola has been extremely difficult, a little easier to do with the Penske chassis, which seems to be more consistent. Now, this puts a lot of strain on the crews, and Gary Gerould has had the opportunity to look at the crews and what's expected of them on an IndyCar weekend.
Yeah, without a doubt, the real unsung heroes of this sport are those men and women who work so diligently behind the scenes as mechanics and crew members, trying to ensure that this equipment is race ready week after week throughout a very long racing season. Consider some of the numbers. More than 450 of these men and women served as crew members or mechanics during this past season. They assembled 41 brand new 1993 IndyCar chassis. They updated countless others that are at least a year or two old. The big transporters that carry all of this equipment logged 1.5 million miles between test sessions and events this year. They spent nearly $250 million trying to find that competitive edge to put them at the top of the list. But it's not just all big numbers. Think about all of the hours, the 12-hour days, the 80-hour weeks that are not at all uncommon. There's not a lot of glamour. There's not a lot of pay for these people. There's a lot of pressure and a lot of tension and a lot of stress. But on the other side, there's also a passion, a love for this sport that you don't find in a lot of other professional sports. It's something that makes these people behind the scenes so very, very special. And once again this year, they had a huge impact on IndyCar racing. Paul?
And it's all combined to make one of the most fantastic seasons in IndyCar history. ESPN's IndyCar Review is brought to you by new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State Motor Oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines. And by Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. Superior wear protection plus superior heat and stress protection. New advanced formula Quaker State, formulated for today's high-tech engines.
Are your kids wishing for something exciting? Radio Shack has it with action-packed radio-controlled cars. Kids control rough terrain with our Force One Rally. The new off-road Tiger lets them handle hills and straightaways. The Scorpion track racer's hard to beat, and the flamethrower is really hot. Now all you have to control is their excitement. For a great selection of this year's hot gifts, check out Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
When we build a Maglite flashlight, we craft the body from a single piece of aircraft aluminum. We seal and gem with high-grade rubber O-rings. We give it a patented self-cleaning switch and a patented adjustable beam. The Maglite flashlight. Brighter, tougher, made in America, flawlessly engineered. The Maglite is a work of art that works.
This holiday season, give the gift of light with a Maglite flashlight.
No matter what you drive, we've got you covered from H to Z.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. Superior wear protection plus superior heat and stress protection. New advanced formula Quaker State, formulated for today's high-tech engines.
We now reach what is traditionally a pivot point in the IndyCar season. Road courses lie ahead. Most of the ovals are already behind, including the Indianapolis 500. And what we've seen is a confrontation between Penske Racing and Newman-Haas Racing.
Yes, and I think the critical eye is still on Mansell. We know how much talent he has, but we didn't know how quickly he could adapt to the new environment of IndyCar racing, particularly the new oval track environment, but there was no problem for him.
But then there were problems. He's the reigning world champion. One would expect that on these road courses upcoming, he would do well, but he didn't.
I think at this stage, Mansell began to sense that he didn't really have enough car to take on the Penske team. That car was exceptionally good on road courses, and I think he may have begun to overdrive the Newman-Haas car a little bit. At Toronto, it was a disaster. He hit just about everything in sight, had a terrible race. But a measure of how strong this team is, 2 weeks later at the Michigan 500, they came back, and Mario Andretti, Nigel's teammate, set a new closed course world record, qualifying on the pole at over 234 miles an hour. The race was between the two teammates, and Nigel won it.
The second third of the IndyCar season began with confrontation both on and off the track.
Nigel Mansell had the pole, but Emerson Fittipaldi jumped the start. Immediately, a protest was filed by Newman-Haas Racing in the pits, and 12 laps later, leader Emerson Fittipaldi was black flagged. Emo and Mansell would both crash. Now it was Al Unser Jr. and Danny Sullivan that battled, and little Al would be black flagged for that move, leaving the victory to Danny Sullivan, his first in over a year. The Penske chassis was proving powerful on road courses, and Mansell was now driving desperately just to keep even. This off-course excursion cost him the race at Portland. It was Emerson Fittipaldi with a brilliant drive and a great car that went on to take the victory. Mansell finished in second to keep the PPG points lead, but Penske drivers Fittipaldi and Paul Tracy were closing in. At the Burke Lakefront Airport in Cleveland, 2 former world champions, Mansell and Fittipaldi, put on a brilliant display of driving side by side, lap after lap. But the race itself was finally resolved in the favor of Paul Tracy, who took his second IndyCar victory of his career. A week later, in front of the hometown crowd in Toronto, it was Tracy win number 3. At the Michigan 500, Mario Andretti had the pole. No man has ever gone faster in an IndyCar. The first 2 rows were all Fords, and it was Ford-powered Lola with Nigel Mansell at the wheel that took the win, despite suffering the flu.
But Paul, without question, when we look back over this 1993 season, one of the key players has been Paul Tracy, and with the bitter disappointments that came with some, frankly, blown opportunities at Phoenix, among other places, the jubilation of breaking through the first victory at Long Beach and then following it up with a string of victories this year. And I'm curious at how you look now and evaluate this whole 1993 season.
Well, I think it's gone pretty well so far this year. I've been in point contention all year long and had a good, real first season, and you know, frankly, I've messed up on some races and threw some away, but, you know, we've come up big on some, like my hometown race in Toronto was a highlight for the year. And, yeah, I think, yeah, it's been a pretty good season. If it was, you know, it's over now, and you know, I think with how I've done, I'm happy, looking forward to next year in '94, looking to have a good season.
How much better a race driver are you now than you were a year ago at the close of the past season?
Well, I think I'm a lot better driver, but you know, I think you improve every year. I think every driver improves, and you know, I think I got a lot of years left and a lot of time to learn more things, and I think that when the time comes that I'm not learning anything and I'm not having fun at it, that's when it's time to hang it up. But you know, I've got a long way to go yet.
Indeed, the key seems to be you got a lot of years ahead. We wish you well. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.
Let's go to Jan.
Gary, Robbie Gordon started off this season with an inspired performance in Australia. Right out of the box, he found himself on the podium. Then he had a real difficult stretch of races. He had inspired driving performances, but not the results they were hoping for. Now, Robbie, you had a great start to the season. Then you got on the podium again towards the end of the season. Was there anything that happened during the year that gave you that momentum back?
I think after the Australia race, you know, we were all so excited. We all wanted to run so good. And
We went into Phoenix. You know, we were running third until I got into a late race incident. Then it seemed like it was just a snowball effect. We just kind of had problems for 3 or 4 races. Then we were back competitive at Milwaukee again, competitive at Detroit, you know, get a flat tire. You know, we've had a real good year. I've had a great time working with Voigt's crew, and, you know, now we're towards the end of the season, and we should have 2 podium finishes in a row. We just made a little misjudgment last race with Tracy. So going into Laguna, we're all feeling pretty comfortable.
There's been a lot of speculation throughout the season, but now you have the opportunity to talk about where you'll be for 1994. Tell us about your plans and what we can expect from Robbie Gordon in 94.
Well, you know, we had a great season this year with Copenhagen and A.J. Voigt's team, and then next year I'm going to go over to Derek Walker's team. We're going to have Valvoline and Cummins as a primary sponsor, and I'm just going to be real excited, and we're going to do a bunch of testing and have spare cars. It's going to be great.
When we come back, the races that took Nigel to the crown, and we'll talk with the champion himself.
Hello there, sports fans and coin collectors. Best Variety has a great selection of sports cards from 1951 to now, and comic cards too. For coin collectors, we have U.S. and foreign coins. We have coin and card holders. Tell us you saw us on cable and get our 30th anniversary specials just in time for the holidays. That's Best Variety. We're at 358 West Foothill Boulevard in Glendora, east of Grand. Call 818-914-CARD. That's 818-914-2273. Thank you.
Van is America's favorite minivan.
Why?
Because it's always being improved. This year, both driver and front passenger airbags are standard.
Why?
To meet 1998 car safety requirements. Which is also why Caravan now has additional dynamic side impact protection. And there's an available integrated child safety seat that reclines.
Why?
Ask your mother. And during our safety leadership sale, Dodge Caravans also come with $500 cash back.
Our season review has been brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when. So Nigel Mansell makes history by driving from his first IndyCar race to the championship in a single season, one that rewarded consistency.
It really did. Consider this fact, Mansell won the championship scoring 191 points. Now, you could have beaten him for that championship by just scoring an average 4th place finish in every race, but I don't think it'll be that easy next year.
Now, consider some of the changes we already mentioned. Michael Andretti is back. He will be driving in the new Renard chassis. Al Unser Jr. now joins Penske Racing as a 3rd member of that team. And Nigel Mansell has 1 year of racing under his belt in the Indy cars, and he doesn't forget anything. Derek had an opportunity to drive Nigel's car.
Having not raced IndyCar since 1989, what a better way to get current with IndyCar technology than to jump in and drive the championship-winning car. It was during a 3-day Newman Haas test at Sebring that I got to sample Mansell's car. After a quick seat fitting, I was ready to go, and Nigel himself was there to offer some helpful hints. This car was very well behaved, particularly in the high-speed corners, but the biggest single difference I found was the new sequential gear change that allows you to keep pushing forward for upshifts. This also makes for quicker, easier gear changes and will be a standard feature on the 94 Lola. But overall, the feel of this race car was very familiar.
I wonder if there was a point there where Nigel got worried about having Derek Daly in his car. Now, with some other final thoughts on the 93 season, let's go to Gary Gerald and Jan Beekes.
Well, Paul, it's really been exciting this year to see just how tight the IndyCar qualifying grids have become, and certainly every indication points to the fact it'll be even tighter in 1994 because Michael Andretti returns, and several other former F1 drivers have expressed a distinct interest in turning to the Indy cars. We also had a classic power plant battle this year, Chevy versus Ford. Chevy goes away next season, but the Ilmore engine remains, and Honda now comes along to challenge them and Ford. And Jan, there's another very exciting aspect because we'll have a new chassis challenger next season as well.
You're right, Gary. We saw some excellent races this year between the Penske and Lola chassis, and in 1994, Reynard race cars are coming to IndyCar racing. 15 of the cars were sold before a team owner ever saw that car turn a wheel. Now, are they taking a chance? I don't think so, because Reynard has won a championship in every series they have ever entered. And they also have a bit of an insurance policy. They have hired, Gary, Bruce Ashmore. He penned the last 4 championship-winning Lolas.
It's been very exciting in 93, and I can tell you right now, you got a couple of pit reporters who can't wait for spring of next year. Paul?
Nigel took the championship by a mere 8 points. Paul Tracy led 756 laps of the 2,112 available. After 3,659 miles of racing, rookie Nigel Mansell is the champion, and we as race fans are richer for it.
The new Toyo 800 Plus all-season touring radial is Toyo's finest tire, designed for superior driving comfort, a very quiet ride, and long tread life. The Toyo 800 Plus comes with an 80,000-mile warranty. Now, we've got to admit Michelin offers a similar warranty, and so does Bridgestone. 3 superb tires. So, what's the difference? See your nearby Toyo dealer, and he'll explain gladly. Toyo tires, driven to perform.
How do you know which motor oil to buy? They all look alike, they feel alike. You can't see them working in your engine. Well, first you ask the people who know cars best. ASC certified master technicians. And then you ask them which oil they put in their own cars. More top mechanics use Valvoline than any other brand of motor oil. Valvoline can help cars go 100, 200, 300,000 miles and more. So before you buy oil for your car, know the one more top mechanics put in theirs.
People who know use Valvoline.
Classic television. Hogan's Heroes.
Green Acres.
Arnold Ziffer. Who played him? Nobody. He was the pig. Remember Family Affair?
Mr. French.
I loved him. He's attractive.
Pete, Link, Julie. Okay, Ginger or Mary Ann?
Ginger was a bimbo.
Mary Ann. Mary Ann or Jeannie?
Beechwood aged Budweiser.
Jeannie.
Crisp, clean, classic.